Greetings for the day. Today we are here to discuss about corrosion. So what is meant by corrosion? Corrosion is the coating of the surface of the metallic objects with oxides of other salts of the metal. Some examples of corrosion are as follows: rusting of iron, tarnishing of silver, development of green coating on copper and bronze. What are the effects of corrosion? Corrosion causes enormous damage to buildings, bridges, ships, and to all the objects made of metals, especially that of iron. Now, let's look at the corrosion of iron, which is commonly known as rusting, in detail. Iron corrodes in the presence of water and air. The spot where the corrosion begins can be considered as the anode. Here, iron loses 2 electrons to form iron 2 ions. The oxidation half reaction has an oxidation potential of negative 0.44 volt. The electrons thus released then move to another spot on the metal, which then behaves as the cathode. At this spot, oxygen is reduced in the presence of hydrogen ion to form water. The hydrogen ions are believed to be available either from carbonic acid, which is formed when carbon dioxide dissolves in water, or due to the dissolution of other acidic oxides from the atmosphere. The reduction potential of this process is 1.23 volt. In the overall reaction, iron is oxidized to iron 2 ions, while oxygen is reduced to water. The cell potential is 1.67 volt, consistent with a spontaneous reaction. The ferrous ions formed are then further oxidized by atmospheric oxygen in the form of hydrated iron 3 oxide, commonly known as rust. Summarizing just what we have learned. At the anode, the following reaction takes place. 2Fe gives 2Fe2 plus 4 electrons. After that, the electrons released at the anodic spot move through the metal and go to another spot on the metal and reduce oxygen in the presence of hydrogen. At the cathode, the following reaction takes place. Oxygen, hydrogen, and 4 electrons react to form water. In the overall reaction, the iron is oxidized to iron 2 ions, while oxygen is reduced to form water. The ferrous ions are further oxidized by atmospheric oxygen to ferric ions, which come out as rust in the form of hydrated ferric oxide, Fe2O3.XH2O, and with further production of hydrogen ions. Prevention of corrosion is of prime importance. It is very important to prevent corrosion because it damages the electrical towers, bridges, and buildings, which may collapse as a result. Corrosion also occurs in ships. The corrosion can develop a breach in the ship, which might sink it. Corrosion can also force major industrial plants such as power plants or chemical processing plants to be shut down. Hence, corrosion not only results in the loss of money, but also it endangers the public safety. So how can corrosion be prevented? One way is to cover the surface with paint or some chemicals like bisphenol. This creates a physical barrier that protects the metal. A second alternative is to cover the surface with other metals, such as tin or zinc. Like paint, this prevents oxygen and water from reaching the metal surface. We can also use electrochemistry to prevent corrosion. In cathodic protection, the metal is coated with another metal that is more easily oxidized. In the cathodic protection of iron, iron becomes the cathode and the metal coating becomes the sacrificial anode. Cathodic protection can be used to protect steel pipes from corrosion. Magnesium oxidizes more readily than iron, as you know from the table of standard reduction potentials. In this diagram, a magnesium rod is buried and soldered to a steel pipe. Magnesium acts as the anode and the pipe acts as the cathode. The damp soil acts as an electrolyte. The magnesium rod can be dug up and replaced. This is much faster and less expensive than replacing the pipe itself. Summarizing what we have learned today, corrosion is the coating of the surface of metallic objects with oxides of other salts of the metal. It causes enormous damage to all the objects made of metals, especially that of iron. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Please make sure to like, share and subscribe.